From analog.
Hi, Jim. Give a great signal up here. You're 5.9 plus.
Your digital.
We are everywhere you want to be. This is the CQ Blind Hams Podcast.
Hello, everyone. This is Robert NC5R. And this time, I'm going to be talking to you about cat control. For all you felines who are listening, no need to worry. I'm not going to try to control you. I know you're in control. But in ham radio, we have an acronym called CAT, C-A-T, which stands for Computer Aided Transceiver. And that's what we're going to be discussing today. Normally when I think of cat control in the ham radio context, I think about plugging a radio into a computer and then using that computer to control the radio. Today, however, I'm not going to be demonstrating a computer controlling the radio. I'm going to be demonstrating a little box that's 2.5 inches square by about 1 inch high, connected to my radio. This little box is called the CTR2 Micro. It was dreamed up, designed, built, programmed by Lynn Hansen, a fellow ham from Idaho. He wanted a knob for his flex radio, so he created one. The Micro has a knob on top of it that allows you to tune the radio plus do multiple other things. There are also 3 buttons on the Micro. Now you can plug the Micro into a computer and have several different interfaces to get feedback from the Micro about what it's exchanging with the radio. Today, however, I'm not going to be demonstrating that particular side of using the Micro with a computer. You can also use the Micro in standalone mode, which is essentially what I'm going to be demonstrating today, at least almost. The reason I say almost is because when you use the Micro in standalone mode with nothing but just your radio connected to it, and of course it connected to power, the feedback that you get from the Micro is presented to you in CW or Morse code. And that's great for people who are competent in CW or who enjoy CW. But a lot of people would like to have feedback in speech. Not too much more than a month ago, this idea was presented to Lynn Hansen. Could he put a speech synthesizer in the Micro? Well, there's no room to put a speech synthesizer in a 2.5 inch enclosure. So what Lynn did was he designed a speech synthesizer module to be used with the Micro. Now this module is exactly the same size as the Micro. Another little 2.5 inch box. It's called the CTR2 Voice, and it does not have any buttons or knobs on it. It's simply a little box that has a USB-C port and a 3.5 millimeter phone jack for plugging in an external powered speaker or a set of headphones. It does require a powered speaker. There is no speaker in the voice enclosure. The way that you connect the Micro to the voice is through Wi-Fi. So when you set these devices up, you install both of them on your Wi-Fi network. You then tell the Micro the IP address for the voice, and you tell the micro that you want to use the voice as the reporting agent that's going to present back to you in speech whatever's going on with the micro. Once you do that, you have a talking micro that's communicating with your radio and providing feedback back to you on what's going on. That's what I'm getting ready to demonstrate, but I wanted to give you a little bit of background, a little bit of introduction to exactly what we're talking about here, because this is honestly taking cat control to a whole new level. Let's get on with the demonstration. I have my micro connected to my radio and to the voice. I'm going to start out by showing you what is on the home page of the micro.
Radio Cat Online. Home page. Radio profile. Equals Radio 1. Cat. Equals Kenwood 1. 9600 baud. Transmit enabled. Wi-Fi 38. Radio mode. Equals VFO. A. 3.953. LSB. Tune 1K. Transmit enabled. S7. Offline VFO. Equals VFO B14. Radio settings. A volume. Equals 0. B volume. Equals 12. Gain. Equals 100. Attenuation. Equals. Power. Equals 35.
That's what you get when you ask the micro to just give you a full, long report of what's available on its home page, which is where we're sitting right now. We can also query it for a brief report. Here's what that sounds like.
VFO. A. 3.953. LSB. Tune 1K. Transmit enabled. S5.
So that gave us the frequency, the mode, the S meter reading, and a couple other things. So you can tell kind of what's going on with your radio at the moment. And again, we're sitting at the micro homepage. The micro at its homepage is the place where you would tune your radio using the knob on top of the micro. So I'm going to turn the volume up on my radio, and if you were paying close attention, you heard the micro report tell us that the radio is set to be tuned in 1K steps. So right now we're sitting on 3953. And I'm going to move up to 3954. The micro just announced that I turned the volume up on my radio and what the volume level is. I'm going to move up to 354, and it should announce that frequency.
3.954.
And we can move on up to 3.55.
3.955. 3.956.
So you can hear that we're moving up in
volume. Equals 13%.
I just changed the volume, turned it down a little bit so it announced that volume level again. But you can hear that we're moving up by steps of 1. You can easily change the step size. So I'm going to go ahead and change the step size to 5. And then you can hear how we move up by steps of 5 kilohertz. So let's go ahead and press in the encoder knob, which I was just turning to change the frequency without it being pressed in. I'm going to press it in and turn it once to the left, and that will change the frequency step tuning.
Tune 5K.
So now it's set to tune 5K. So if I turn the encoder knob.
3.961. 3.966.
So I'm just moving up the band by 5 kilohertz. Let me show you some examples of the different tuning steps. I'm going to hold the encoder button down and just go through some of the tuning steps that are available.
Tune 10K. Tune 50K. Tune 100K. Tune 500K. Tune 1. Tune 5.
So now we're into just tuning by hertz.
Tune 10. Tune 50. Tune 500. Tune 1K.
And we're back to 1K. I was holding the encoder knob down and turning it to the left. And so that allows us to see how you can change the tuning steps and how you can tune the radio using the encoder knob. The Micro has a built-in help system in case you get lost or you forget what is possible in a given spot in the Micro within a menu or at the home page or whatever. You can get some help. Let me show you the help system as it is when you're sitting on the home page like we are right now.
Home page. You are currently on the home page. Turn the encoder to change frequency. Press and turn the encoder to change tuning resolution. Short press and release the encoder to open the main menu. Long press the encoder to toggle report mode on and off. Press ESC, MFB1, or turn encoder to exit. Home page. BFO. A. 3.966.
So that context-sensitive help is available wherever you are within the Micro. Now, the way I'm accessing these different options is by using the multifunction programmable buttons on the top left side of the Micro. There are 3 of them, I will remind you. And that's how we're accessing some of these options that I've been showing you as far as reports go and help go. I have the buttons programmed to provide that information. I now want to just walk you through the menu structure of the Micro, and we're going to focus on a couple of menus in a bit more detail in this podcast. There will be other podcasts to cover a lot of the other menus because there's a lot here. But I want to show you the top level menu first, or the main menu. So I'm going to press down and release the encoder, do a quick press or a click on the encoder knob, and that is going to open up the main menu.
Main menu. Radio. Kenwood.
So now I'm in the main menu and I'm on the radio menu, which happens to be the last one that I used last, and it told us that I was using my Kenwood. Let me just use the encoder knob and go through the different menus that are available from off the main menu.
About ... Quick keys. Frequency. BFO. BFO-A. Band. 80 meters. Mode. LSB. Transmit message. Edit transmit message. Kia. Configure. Radio. Kenwood.
So we're back to the radio menu, which is the menu that allows us to learn about what some options are that we can access using the Micro regarding controlling our radio. So let's just go into the radio menu by pressing the encoder, clicking it, and we'll see what the radio menu options are.
Radio menu. VFO-A equals 3.966.
That's just telling us which VFO we're using and what frequency it's currently set to.
Mode equals LSB.
And of course the mode.
Volume equals 0.
So right now, my radio is completely turned down. It's sitting at 0. I'm going to click the encoder here and go into this volume menu and show you that I can turn the radio up using the micro.
Volume dash main receiver equals 0. Value. Value equals 17.
I was just turning the encoder knob quickly to the right, and you can hear my radio now in the background, and it says the volume level is set to 17. I'm going to go back down to 0.
Value. Value equals 9. Value equals 4. Value equals 1. Value equals 0.
So now I've got the volume turned all the way down, and if I had stopped on each turn of the encoder or each click of the encoder knob, it would have announced each one, but it interrupted itself and just announced the ones that I paused on for a second. So I'm going to click the encoder knob again to get out of the volume settings.
Radio menu. Volume equals 0.
So now I'm back to the menu. Let's keep going through it.
Squelch equals 0. Gain equals 100. Attenuation equals 0. Antenna equals 1. Noise blanca equals off. Noise reduction equals off. Notch equals off. Power out equals 35W.
So right here is where I can change the power output of my transmitter if I wanted to. I'll go in here and show you that I can change it.
Power out equals 35. Value equals 36. Value equals 37. Value equals 38. Value equals 39. Value equals 40.
So now I'm sitting on 40. I've moved up from 35 to 40. I could turn the encoder quickly and move the power way up if I wanted to.
Value equals 68.
So now I'm on 68. So that's how the encoder works if you want to set things like power and volume and things like that from within the radio menu. Click the encoder to get out of the power settings. Let's move on through the menu.
CW tune equals off. Monitor level equals off. Exit.
Now I'm at the exit option where I can click the encoder to leave this menu, or I could just cycle back through the same options that we just heard. So I'm going to exit the menu here.
Home page. VFO A 3.966.
I want to now show you the frequency menu because there are some particularly useful options in there. So the way we're going to get to the frequency menu, remember, is we're going to click the encoder, which will bring up the main menu.
Main menu. Radio. Kenwood.
We're still on the radio menu. I'm going to turn the encoder knob until I get to the frequency menu.
About. Quick keys. Frequency.
Now I'm at the frequency menu. I'm going to click the encoder to go into that menu.
Frequency menu. Report frequency mode. Direct frequency entry.
And here you can do a direct frequency entry. I'm going to show you how to do one of those in a minute.
0 low digits.
You can use this option to zero the digits.
Previous frequency mode. RIT. Off. Database. Radio. Load from memory. Save to memory. Rename or erase memory. Report frequency mode.
So those are the options in the frequency menu. And one option that is particularly handy is that there is a memory mode. The Micro has the ability to save a frequency and the mode that you were using on that frequency into a memory location or a memory channel. You can save 100 of these locations per VFO. The frequencies can be saved either in a general database that would be accessed by any radio that you connect to the Micro, or they can be saved in a database that's specific to a given radio. I'm saving my memories into my database for the Kenwood radio because it's the only HF radio that I have at the moment. So I'm going to go back to the load frequency from memory option and show you how I can quickly jump to one of the memory locations that I have programmed into the Micro.
Rename or erase memory. Save to memory. Load from memory.
Going to go in here.
Load DFO-A from radio DB-A. 2 equals Marvin 3.953 LSB.
So what you heard there was that my memory option 2 is set to 3953, which is where Marvin W5MRR and a lot of friends hang out, and a frequency that I go to fairly often. So I'm going to turn the volume up on the radio and tell it to go to 3953 just by clicking the encoder.
Volume equals 25%. 3.953.
So there's Marvin right there on 3953.
Volume equals 29%.
This is a quick way to program in your favorite memory locations, and you can program them with a text label, which brings me to the point that using the Micro, you have two editors built into it. One is for editing text like memory labels, and there's a value editor where you can edit the value of digits. I'm going to show you that now by going to the direct frequency entry.
Main menu. Frequency. Frequency menu. Load from memory. Database. RIT. Off. Previous frequency mode. 0 low digits. Direct frequency entry.
And there are other options here, of course, that I'm not going to explore right now because I'm just trying to give you an overview or a highlight. But let's say that I wanted to use the Micro's encoder knob to directly enter a frequency. So I'm going to go into direct frequency mode here.
Added radio frequency 3.953,000. Digit 1, 3.
So now I'm sitting on digit 1, which is the 3. I could change that if I wanted to. I don't want to change that digit, but if I did, the way that I would do it would be to turn the encoder knob, and it would give me different values that digit could be set to. But I'm going to just go over here to the right a couple of digits and change this 3953 to 3963. So the way I do that, the way I go across the digits, the way I move the cursor, if you will, across the frequency that's currently there, is by holding down the encoder knob and turning it to the right.
3.953,000, digit 2, dot.
Now I'm sitting on the decimal point, the dot.
3.953,000, digit 3, 9.
Sitting on the 9.
3.953,000, digit 5, 5.
So I'm now on the 5. I'm going to just change that to a 6.
6.
And now I'm going to click the encoder and see if we go to 3963.
Home page. BFO. A. 3.963.
So that's how you can change the digits directly to go to a direct frequency if you want to do that. What I've hopefully demonstrated here is that there are a lot of things you can do just with the micro and the voice synthesizer. I'm going to be coming back and doing future podcasts on the other interfaces that are available with the micro, and I'll probably go into more detail about some of the other menus and some of the other things that you can do. I didn't want to get in the weeds too far in this introductory podcast. I just wanted to show you what's basically possible, because this is a very exciting cat control interface for a lot of different radios. And the micro supports a lot of radios, a lot of ICOMs, a lot of Kenwoods, supports the Elecraft radios, a lot of them, supports the Flex, of course, as well as others. So a lot of radios that may not be accessible could be accessed by using the CTR2 Micro along with the CTR2 Voice synthesizer module. All the information about the CTR2 Micro and the Voice synthesizer is available on Lynn Hansen's website, which is Lynnovation.com. Lynnovation.com. That's where you can find out everything, including all the documentation, which is excellent, by the way. I would encourage anyone who's really interested in the micro and the CTR2 Voice to read the documentation. It's very well done. It's very accessible. There's now an Appendix H in the micro manual that's designed specifically for people with visual impairments and blindness, that provides a lot of text-based information about the micro, because he does use some screenshots in the rest of the documentation, even though honestly he describes very well what those screenshots are showing. But this Appendix H is quite helpful, and there's a lot of great information there on the website, including ordering and pricing and so forth. You can buy the micro in a kit form, or you can buy it already assembled by Lynn. The voice synthesizer, as far as I know, you can only purchase already assembled. I think he wants about $47 or $48 for the micro assembled, and I think he wants $50 for the voice synthesizer module. Of course, there'll be some shipping cost involved, but this is not incredibly expensive technology that Lynn is offering, and hopefully you've been able to see from this little demonstration that it really does work quite well. I'll be back with more as time goes on, but we'll put this out there and see what you guys think of it. So for now, this is Robert NC5R 73.
Don't forget to subscribe to this podcast and visit www.blindhams.com.